Hey there, if you're thinking about making a move to Hilton Head Island, first you have to watch this video. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons of living on Hilton Head, all the good stuff and the bad stuff, because we know every area has it. So today we're going to dig into everything that you need to know, and whether it's good, bad, ultimately everyone makes a decision to move to a certain area for a lot of different reasons. And we're going to cover every single one of them today. So stay tuned. So welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here with us. Really do appreciate it. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure that you do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, as well as tap on the little bell for your notifications to be turned on so you don't miss a single video about living here in Hilton Head. But additionally, me and my team here in Hilton Head with my real estate office get a ton of people calling, texting, and emailing, and even setting up Zooms, Zoom schedules to walk them around the island, show them the different, restaurants and the different types of real estate that you can invest in. So whether you're looking for a new primary residence, a secondary home, or even just an investment property, it all exists here on Hilton Head. And so we love getting these calls. We love connecting with people, from these videos and hopefully sharing, valuable content about what it's like to live on the island. And again, full-time, part-time, half-time, or no time, even just to, protect your money and your investment. That's really what we're all about here. So we really do appreciate that. And as always, all the contact information is down below here in the description, but you can also schedule on the little channel art here a Zoom with us, and we'd love to hop on the phone with you, talk with one of our team members about coming to the island, visiting, and also looking at real estate. Again, whether it's your primary, secondary, or an investment property. So let's talk more of the pro side. As far as the pros are concerned, the great thing about Hilton Head is that there are a ton of different lifestyles that fit into the culture and the geography and the climate of Hilton Head itself. So if you're really into the outdoor activities, again, we got tons of stuff for you here. Also, if you're working remote here now and you're working from home, or you're maybe working for a larger organization somewhere else, the technology that we have here on Hilton Head is, capable of everything else that you might expect in terms of internet speeds and connectivity and stuff. So you don't have any of those dead spots or, cell service issues. And so, if you're here working, or if you're working remotely, it's actually, to me, one of the biggest pros, because you can work in the morning or in the afternoon or all day if you have to, and then head out to the beach or head out to play some golf or tennis or bike around the island. And so for me, it hits a lot of different lifestyles. So whether you're retired and you're looking for a place to, settle down, so to speak, or if you're, what I would call still professional, but maybe on your, you're thinking about retirement, or you're professional now thinking about retirement in the next 5 to 10 years, I think you could actually make an early transition to Hilton Head as well, especially if you can work remote, if you don't have to be in a major city like Atlanta or Nashville or Greenville in South Carolina, or Charlotte, North Carolina, or anywhere, down through Florida. I think this is a phenomenal place to set yourself up for retirement. And certainly, one of the other pros that we're going to talk about here is the property values from both sides, again, because now property on Hilton Head is significantly more expensive than it has been in more recent years. And of course, being in a beach community, and especially oceanfront property, especially has seen a dramatic increase in value, which, I don't think we're necessarily done with. I think we're going to start to see a lot more appreciation come along as people discover Hilton Head. So that's something that we'll dig into a little bit more here. But in terms of lifestyle, even young professionals have moved to Hilton Head and either started over with their own business or, working remote for another business. The great thing about, living in Hilton Head is that you're still very, very convenient to Atlanta, to Charlotte, to, North Florida especially. You can be in Jacksonville in about 2.5, 3 hours. And so, but it also can be a bit of a con, right? If you have to go into an office, there's no way you're commuting 4.5 hours back to Atlanta every single day. But if you're working remote, I think this actually could be, a great option. So again, a lot of different lifestyles. If you have a young family, there's great schools on the island, both public and private. Second and third thing to me are kind of not synonymous, but they kind of fit together. So the first is culture. There's a ton of museums and a ton of, activities around the nature preserves and art museums and stuff like that. But then the second half to me, and maybe it's just because I love to eat and I love great food, is the cuisine. There's a wide variety, obviously a ton of great seafood, as you might expect, but I'm going to do another video here where we talk about where the locals go and then where the tourists go, because I think, especially if you're just going to come and visit, there's a lot of great restaurants here, but a lot of them are tourist traps, and you'll find, 2 and 3 and 4 hour wait times, and it is first come, first serve. So, when you're thinking about where to eat on the island or even just over in Bluffton, a lot of great options, barbecue and seafood and, kind of that, Southern traditional cuisine. So, and then everything in between, great Italian food, great pizza places, great burger places. So those to me really, really fit together really, really well. But that's a huge pro. The amount of restaurants too on the island has also increased pretty significantly. And when we talk about the selection there's some really high-end steakhouses and, again, Italian restaurants. And then you have your run-of-the-mill, not so many chains, a lot more locally owned, restaurants. And so I feel like you've got a great diversity, of selection there, which to me makes a massive difference when it comes to where you're going to live. Another big pro for not just moving here, but also for investing here is that the business community is growing. Economic development is happening in Hilton Head every single day, and it's growing quickly. The island was really untouched and really kind of a secret community for a little while, and not a lot of people knew about it. It was kind of like this hidden little gem here in the Southeast. And so, as it opens up and as more people find out about it, the economy definitely comes along with that. So, the average income here in Hilton Head is about $72,000. So again, a lot of your young professionals and executives and people that are now working remote have decided to relocate here and be able to work from the island, which I think is awesome. But again, the commercial development as well as apartments and retail has definitely seen a recent surge. And again, not just on the island, but also over in Bluffton. Kind of a bit of a pro and a con. When it comes to the weather in Hilton Head, the phenomenal thing about living in Hilton Head is the weather. I mean, you have like an 8-month summer here that, you can really enjoy a lot of the outdoor activities that we've talked about, all throughout the channel here, tennis and biking and running and walking and kayaking and of course boating and fishing and everything else. But it's a very mild and temperate, temperature most of the year. In November, December, January, February, it does get a little bit cooler. But honestly, now it's 65, 70 degrees there and it's January. So a light jacket or a sweater is just perfect for being outside and taking part in all these activities and stuff. And just, being outside. So, but of course it is along the South Carolina coast here. So, hurricanes are a real thing. And there have been, evacuations and major devastation as a result, which certainly, as far as real estate's concerned, definitely have an impact in terms of your insurance and repairs and stuff like that. And of course, flooding is also a major issue because of the coastal location here. So anyway, the weather, though, I feel like is always going to be, a trade-off, right? Where, you might be in Florida, you're going to get a lot more hot summers. Obviously, it's very hot here, most of the summer and during the high season, what we call the Memorial time frame to like the September time frame. But even after Labor Day, you can still get in the water. It's still really, really nice, actually. So to me, the weather, though, is the top pro and the top con at the exact same time. So, if you're deathly afraid of getting caught in a hurricane, there are early signs, so that's a benefit. It's not like a tornado where, you don't have tons of time to prepare. There's, generally speaking, days, if not weeks, before a hurricane hits that is coming. So that can also be, a pro, at least for the weather, that at least what's coming, at least what's headed your way. So now let's talk about a couple of the cons. And again, we mentioned the weather, which if you're scared of hurricanes, I wouldn't recommend moving here. Even though you got, a couple days or a couple weeks notice on when something's headed your way, evacuation is a very real thing. And so having somewhere else to go, whether again, that's a second home, a second property somewhere, or, family and friends that are close by, about once or twice a year, it does become an issue. And so that's definitely something to think about. You can't deny the fact that it is on the East Coast and that it is right on the ocean. So, once things get to about Jacksonville, Florida, generally you see it kind of follow, the eastern seaboard there. So once you see it coming up Florida and it's not going to head west towards the Gulf, but more north and northeast, once it gets to Florida, and again, depending on the severity of the storm, I would say by the time it gets to Jacksonville, you really got a decision to make. I know a lot of people will stay behind, but a lot of people will evacuate at that point because, again, 3 hours down the road here from Hilton Head is Jacksonville, Florida. And so you've got a little bit of time there to, make some plans and definitely make some adjustments, but you've always got time to make those plans or adjustments. And again, the flooding, obviously with insurance prices and everything along the coast, you're going to see a bit of a premium. And that can definitely detract a lot of people from moving here or living here. But again, I think if you expect it once or twice a year, even if it's minor flooding, most of the homes are built on stilts. Most of the villas and stuff have parking below, and then, the living quarters above. So while it is a concern, again, only when a hurricane comes along, especially the ones at night at high tide when, it draws out all that water in. So definitely something to think about. But additionally, and I mentioned this, I think at the very beginning of the video, that the prices and the values on Hilton Head have gone up significantly over the last 2 years. And a lot of that because there were a lot of companies that said, we're never going back to an office. You can work remote forever and ever and work here as long as you like. A lot of people then made the decision to move to Hilton Head and work remotely because they wouldn't have to go into an office. And so values have seen a pretty sharp increase to about the tune of 25%. And that's across the board for your smaller villas, again, that might be rental units, to single family homes and townhomes and even apartments, and the rental rate has also increased. So the local real estate market here is tough. And just like it has been for the last 2 years for most of the United States, you do see multiple offers, you do see some pocket listings, you do see, properties moving really, really fast. And again, whether it's your primary, secondary, or investment property, it doesn't matter. That is all the same here. So it's really, really hard, to actually get on the island and find something that you can purchase. And then, of course, because it is an island and because the high season from Memorial Day to Labor Day, there are a lot of people that are here on summer vacation or spring break or whatever. There's a lot of tourists here. So if you live here full time, you see a massive surge of people come to the island for a week or two at a time, or even a month, and stay. And of course, that changes the dynamic of living here, right? And so, a lot of people don't realize that, obviously. There's not many people, I think it's like 40 or 50,000 people that live here full time and that are here constantly. But you'll see the island population surge to several 100,000 during the summer. And so, your restaurant wait lines and your activities and stuff get booked up, and golf course tee times and stuff become a lot more challenging to get. So just something to note. Again, I like full disclosure, so giving you all of the information to make the decision for you, I think is really what we're all about here. So hopefully this is insightful. Hopefully this gives you things to think about. Whether, again, you're making a move for a primary, secondary, or an investment property. And even in an investment property, a lot of people will, purchase an investment property and then actually use it themselves for, 2 weeks out of the year, 4 weeks out of the year, 10 weeks out of the year, and still have that investment income coming in to help offset taxes and property management fees and property owners, association group fees and stuff like that. So something else to think about if you're not maybe moving here full time yet, but maybe you do want to spend more time on the island, like me, you might consider something along the investment lines. The last con to me is the higher price of living. Obviously, over the last number of years, we've had a huge problem with inflation just in general in the United States, but to live in Hilton Head is slightly expensive than it might be, in any of your other coastal cities. like Charleston or like Jacksonville, Florida. And so, you know, in real estate, we talk a lot about, you know, cap rates and not just what you can rent a property for, but the appreciation. There's a lot of things to consider. I consider real estate like a diamond. There's a lot of different facets that you got to look at when you're making a purchase and also when you're making a sale. And so, you know, these trends, these things that we look at in real estate specifically, you know, having a higher cost of living is definitely a con for most people. But once you're here and once you're invested, there's now a certain standard, I feel like, that you can then maintain, right? And again, the higher, you know, cost of ownership to live here, you know, definitely pads things or insulates you a little bit from, you know, lower income housing coming in, stuff like that. So anyway, I hope that all makes sense. Leave a comment below if I'm not making any sense here, or if you have any other questions about pros or cons here in Hilton Head. But hopefully that's helpful. Again, as always, if you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always leave a comment down below. You can always email us, you can text us, you can call us, you can even schedule a Zoom call here. There's a ton of other videos that we'll be bringing out to you guys about Hilton Head, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here. And I'll be introducing you to more of my team members here as well, so that you can see their faces, hear their experience with the island as well. I think it's really valuable to get a couple different perspectives, and that's why to me, this video is really important, because there's always things that are pros, there's always things that are cons, and I think when you get a holistic picture, you know, then you're able to make a better decision ultimately. And to me, that's ultimately the value that hopefully we bring to you here, is giving you the information for you ultimately to make that decision, whether or not this is a place you might want to be in, again, part-time, full-time, or half-time, or just as an investment property, no time at all. But anyway, hopefully that's helpful. If there's anything that we can do to help you out, please don't hesitate to reach out anytime. I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, any questions or comments, reach out anytime. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks so much for watching again. I appreciate you very much. Bye-bye.